Well, hi YouTubers. Okay, book 11 of the 365 100 books, and I read this in a day. I love this book. It's by Sophie Nicholls, and it's called The Dress. And this book came out in the year of 2011, which was the royal wedding, which is a focal point of this book. And let me just explain the blurb on the back, okay? Fabia Moreno comes to York with a passion, a daughter, and a secret. Her passion is vintage clothing, and she soon sets up a dress shop, bringing new sparkle to the women of the town. Her daughter is Ella, bright but shy, and entirely unsuspecting that love might be on the horizon. Her a secret long buried but never forgotten, is what might bring their newfound happiness crashing down. Ooh, I know. Now this book is kind of reminding me of two other books. One is Joanna Harris called Chocolate, which is highly recommended. Turned into that film with a few years ago with Alfred Molina and Johnny Depp. And another one is, I cannot remember the author, but it's called The Dressmaker. It's set on the Australian outback. Well, Australia in the middle of nowhere. And it's very, very similar, because magical realism is kind of in this book, but it's not obvious. A lot of times it's kind of like the driving force, that it's kind of like magical wish fulfillment going in. But no, this book has it, but it's not, never is a driving force. Now both Ella has what I called signal potential. They have this ability called the signals, where they can sense emotions. Now Ella, the youngest one, she's only a teenager. She is coming into her power, but she's kind of unaware of it or unsure of it. However, Fabia does have it, but she hides it due to her past, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But Fabia has this gift where, in the clothes that she makes, she stitches little messages, little moments of inspiration to make the wearer of her dresses feel more beautiful about themselves, a bit more magical. And it's beautifully, beautifully executed. This book starts out, I was very, very uncertain, but it just pulled me in. You start to really care about these characters and their setup and their design. And obviously, Ella is in this town of York, and, well, York is actually a city. And put this book down. And one thing I like is, I did some research on the author. The author actually is from York, but she doesn't describe York in detail. York could be any historical city. There's a kind of like ambiguity about this. It's kind of like you're looking at something from a high up, from a distance. So you get a feel of it, but you don't get the minute details that you would normally have in this kind of story. It's absolutely beautiful. Things are described when they have to be described, but not before. Now, one thing this book really, really plays quite cleverly with is the class system. Now, within the story, there's Billy, who is kind of like Ella's kind of love interest, and but he's very, very on the lower working class spectrum. Then there's Katrina, another friend of Ella's, who is on the higher bracket, and Ella is somewhere in the middle. Okay. It's quite funny how people perceive Ella due to the fact, okay, even though she is working class herself and the daughter of a working class mother, due to the kind of social position of being the dressmaker and having the respect of the upper classes, if you will, there's an ambiguity of where do you stand within the class system, and it's quite cleverly done. Especially with Fabia actually being an immigrant and feeling like an outsider. Now this kind of touches in quite nicely to the Iranian Revolution. Because Fabia is, well, she's Iranian. However, she married an Italian, and they, so everyone just assumes that Fabia's Italian when she's Iranian. However, it is called the Old Country. And then you realise why, because the Iran that Fabia does describe, what she does describe, it no longer exists. It was kind of wiped out during the Iranian Revolution, I believe in 1979. So it's kind of harking back to a land which you will never have a place in, and trying to find your place in a new land, the new land being Europe and then the UK. And due to that, Fabia is unsettled. She is like, she's a nomad. She moves quite a bit. And finally got to the point where Ella wants to stop, settle down. She's made friends. There is a love interest as well for Fabia, and she wants to stop. She wants to stay. She's found a home in York, and it's just beautifully, beautifully executed. And it's quite funny how Fabia is a mother who wants to protect her daughter, but the adult world is starting to encroach on them. And sadly, I'm not going to go into any spoilers here, But the conflicted world of the adults really kind of crashes down on Ella in quite a really upsetting way. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say. But this book, I was so unsure of it. I will be truly honest, but it just pulled me in. You get to really, really get a feel for the characters, and you just love them. So anyway, one thing I like about this book is this eloquence of tying it into the old Iran and the mythology of this world that no longer exists. And yet just kind of keep it in the modern times too. It's beautiful. Now, there's one bit I'm just going to, because incorporated in this story is kind of like stories from the old country, okay, from Iran. And it's kind of how Ella's history keeps going into her subconscious as kind of basically kind of making her a woman of her old culture and a new culture, because she's been raised to be British, but at the same time subconsciously her Iranian heritage, which her mother has pretty much forced her to deny, is starting to encroach in on her. And I love the eloquence of this. Now this is called The Story of the Wolf Girl. It is page 115, and Ella is a diarist, so she's always writing notes and stories, and I just love, I'm just going to read probably the first 2 paragraphs just to tell the eloquence of this. Once upon a time, Ella wrote in her notebook, there was a young witch, a very powerful sorceress who lived alone with her mother in a little flat above a shop in a half-hidden courtyard. By day, the witch was just like any other girl, except that she kept herself to herself, and people thought she was strange, a bit too quiet, stuck up even. I didn't know how she felt on the inside. She always wore black, but that was just because it helped her to hide. Sometimes, in fact, the girl longed for colour, sunflower, yellow or flame orange or cornflower blue. But black felt warm, black felt impenetrable. She could pull it around her like a second skin, and no one would ever get close enough to find out her secret. That's so beautiful. Such beautiful writing. And it is quite interesting how clothes and colour really, really comes into this. Now, Ella's at that age where she's kind of becoming a woman. She's kind of developing, exploring her sexuality, and obviously falling in love. Yet she wears black and dark colours. She's very, very unsure of herself. Whereas Fabia loves colour. She wants to bring colour onto people. Now, when I mentioned woman in this story, there's another one of the more upper classes, Mrs. Cushman. Mrs. Cushman basically is the mother of Eleanor, and pretty much kind of has the authority figure of the town. And it's quite funny how a dress can make you feel better, but it can never ever stop the unhappiness. That's what I'm going to say. So this book is really, really good. It's a story of basically young adults, Billy, Katrina, Ella, being pushed into the adult world way too early than what they should be sometimes. And it's about, I guess, identity. It's about trying to figure out who you are at the core when you've been running for it for so long. Literally running from yourself. That's all I'm going to really say. So anyway, book recommended. It is part of a trilogy. I've only read this one, obviously. If I can get hold of the other 2, I will do reviews of them too. But this book is so good. You're going to love it. Okay. So, to Miss Nicholls, congratulations. And one thing that I love, now I wish I knew this before, is she's also an MA teacher. So I just saw this on her Twitter. I just finished my MA in creative writing. I really wish I would have had you as a tutor, but my university was pretty cool as well. So anyway, besides I live in London, not York. So anyway, sign off here. Bye now, YouTubers. Bye now.